Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of Kitchen Whimsy. I certainly hope you've had a great time, maybe picked up a few tips and tricks. And today I'm going to kind of wrap it up with showing you how to properly prepare things for the freezer, because that's really my whole world, and I know that the way I do it must work because I know that my clients, they enjoy the food and it tastes just like I just made it, because the way when it's frozen, it's done properly. So I'm going to show you a few things, and then we'll kind of do a summary and a wrap up. And also, so I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, is that I'm actually going to go live again tomorrow, Friday, because that's when I want to do the drawing for the challenge that you all have been participating in, which has been just really super fun, and really glad to see you guys making comments and everything. So we'll have a little wrap up. I will, everything will be loaded up in the files, so you can enjoy and replay and look back if you need to, if you felt you missed something, or if you want to share it with one of your friends that hasn't been in the group and you want to invite them in so they can enjoy it too. So anyway, let's get to the freezing. Okay, this is, remember when I showed you these muffin cups that I just love, these silicone? Well, I just made some roasted smashed sweet potatoes, okay? And so they're all mashed, and I put them in these silicone cups, and I'm gonna pop them in the freezer. When they're finished freezing, I will literally be able to pop it right out of the cup, and then I'll just put them in a Ziploc freezer bag or a container. The Ziploc bags work great because you can tuck them in places in your freezer real easily. If I did want to use the big ones, I have the smaller size, or I have this silicone tray. And I do have one of my clients that has small children, and they love these roasted mashed sweet potatoes. All they are is mashed sweet potatoes with a little coconut oil and a little bit of almond milk, and they're just delicious. So I make the smaller portions because the kids are little itty bitties. So that's one great thing. The other is and just try to get in the habit, if you make something, if you can, cook once, eat twice or 3 times, because there's going to be those days. I know for me, if I didn't have anything in the freezer and there's days like I just don't feel like cooking, we would starve. So these are actually turkey meatloaf muffins that I had made in these same silicone things. After I baked them right in there, popped them out, cooled them, and then wrapped them individually in plastic wrap. And if you do have a Costco, this is the best ever, because you pull it, it's got a little slider, and it's just the best. No more of those little teeth that tear all over the place. So anyway, so that's a good way to do those. Another way you can do it is, and these are some salmon cakes that I made, and those I did in this, or in the smaller ones of those. I popped them out, let them cool, and then I put them on a cookie sheet and flash froze them all on the cookie sheet, and then popped them in a bag. So I know for the same client that has a little itty bit, the children that like the sweet potatoes, this is a great way, because then she can just grab 1 or 2 of those out of the Ziploc bag and be done with it. So that works really well. For your rice, your quinoa, couscous, any of those grain type things, angel hair pasta, same thing. I never make just enough just for the 2 of us. I make the whole box, and then I will portion it out and into the portions that I would know that my husband and I would like to eat. It doesn't mean you have to have a 2-cup huge portion. You can just say, okay, this is what we want, and then it's sort of like automatic portion control, really. So here's just a bag that, this is like one single that's of some brown rice. The other thing is make sure you label stuff. I mean, sometimes I forget, but I know what I cook all the time, but really, especially if you're in a household of more than 2 of you, if you have it labeled, someone can look and go, oh, there's some rice there, I can grab that. Same thing. Now this is like a double portion. This was also some rice that I decided to portion that way, and I think because I am going to use it for something else real soon. And then this was when I made the orzo yesterday. This is that pasta, the orzo that's made from the chickpea and the lentil, and I didn't use the whole amount that the box made, because I cooked the whole box. So I thought, well, this would be good. I could have this as a little side dish, or just, this would be good cooked up with a little bit of spinach or whatever, or just throw some peas in it, just have that with peas. So this is really nice. I'm going to get another box of it, and I know that I think there's 10 grams of protein per portion, which is great. So this, as far as that goes, the other thing is, anytime you portion into a container, is that, like, I'm just going to use this as an example, is, let's say I'm just going to fill this up with all those mashed potatoes, and there was like 2 inches of air or something on the top, is take that plastic wrap, take a sheet, and put it right down on top of those mashed potatoes, because in freezing food, air is the enemy. It is. So you want to just keep the air off of your food. I have several different containers that I use to portion things individually. There's in fact, I'll give you some links to some of the ones that I use, but there are so many different varieties now of things in the store. So for me to just recommend one over the other, they're really, that's a personal preference. So, but I would, if you do that, like if, let's say you were going to make because I portion my clients' food, let's say it was, well, I made that pecan roasted salmon one time. If I put that on top of brown rice that had peas tossed with it, I would put the rice and the peas on the bottom, and then I would put the salmon on top, and then I would put plastic down right over everything, and then put the lid on the container. And then I would label the lid, and then that would go in the freezer. And that's how, and then there it is. You've got everything in there. But the key is to keep the air off of the food. So anyway, so this is sort of a wrap up of what to do with the food after. And I kind of want to summarize too, I think, some of the things that I found that are key about enjoying or trying to have more joy in your kitchen is, it does take some planning, but don't get over obsessed. And I think what happens is there's so much information out there. Like if you can Google, there's so many resources that you can become overwhelmed. Find a couple that you really trust and like, maybe somebody's blog, or maybe it's a particular site that always has, really good recipes that have been reviewed. I love, sites where people have reviewed the recipes. Beware, because sometimes people review them and they said, oh, I made all these changes. So they're not really reviewing the actual recipe. So pick out a couple, and not that you can't explore now and then, but don't get into that overwhelm, because there is so much information out there and a lot of really, really good resources. Another thing is try to look at when you're prepping and doing, or when you're planning what you want to do. You can break up things into days. Let's say you feel like shopping today, but you don't really feel like cooking today. Well, put the stuff in the fridge, and then maybe the next day you do some of the cooking. Sometimes what I'll do, especially if I have dishes that have lots of chopping, like a couple of stir fries or whatever, I will get all the prepping part, the julienning of the chicken, the chopping of the peppers and the onions and all of that, and I'll put it in containers in the fridge, and then the next day goes like a whiz, because that's the time. That is really one of the fallbacks with stir fries. They're real simple and quick once they're on the stove, but there is a little bit of prep to go. But so it's just looking at things that way, and not looking at, oh boy, I'm going to have to do this all at once, the shopping, the prepping, and the cooking. Is try to you can schedule things into bite-sized pieces. And I know that one of our group members suggested too, what she does is, like, if you're going to chop an onion, chop the whole onion, even if you only need a little bit, put the rest in a bag and toss it in the freezer or in the fridge if you're going to use it soon. Instead of just chopping what you need, chop the whole thing, and then you've got it like ready. So those are just a few tips that way. And this has just really been fun for me to I love to teach, and I hope that you'll all feel comfortable reaching out to me with any questions that you have, any way that I can help. And I will be posting the 3 recipes that I made here in the files, but you can always go to my blog at betterlifestylesolutions.com. My blog is titled under Inspirations, and I have quite a few recipes there too. So this has been a joy, and I will see you live again tomorrow when I do and pick somebody's name out of the hat. So today's challenge is, because we can't leave without the challenge, is I want you to share with me and us If you have some favorite things that you like to freeze, that you have found freeze really well, or if you have some challenges with some of your freezing techniques and do you need some extra help. So please, post any of those in the comments and we'll see if we can't get questions answered and help you all have more joy and inspiration and inspiration in the kitchen. So this has been great. Thank you all for participating. It's been a joy and I can't wait to give away the present tomorrow. It's going to be good. Okay. See you tomorrow, everybody. Thank you. See you later. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't forget. No, remember, be better, do better, live better. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.